Welcome to Commentary Companions. I'm your host, Tony Garcia, and happy 4th of July. That's right, today is July 4th, and I can't believe that America is now 250 years old. Man, that is such a strange sentence to say. It's funny, the year I was born, America was celebrating its 220th birthday, and now here we are celebrating our 250th birthday. And for this 4th of July, I was debating on what to do as a way of celebrating a monumental day in which America gained its independence. And there were so many ideas I had. I even considered doing a commentary on the 1996 movie Independence Day starring Will Smith. It felt appropriate, especially since that film is celebrating its 30th anniversary. But then I thought I could do something else that is greatly associated with America, or as everyone calls it, America. And I figured I want to talk about one of my other favorite Jack Kirby characters that he created for Marvel Comics. That character being Captain America, the Star-Spangled Man with a Plan. Now, so when it comes to Marvel, I hold Marvel in a special place in my heart. Seriously, Commentary Companions is rooted with Marvel. What with the second episode being a commentary on Blade, the film that pretty much saved Marvel in a way and proved that superhero films could work, and that an R-rated comic book movie with horror roots with a black actor in the lead could work. And I've said this many times before, and I will still stand by that belief. We wouldn't have movies like Deadpool and Black Panther without the success of Blade, so we owe a lot to Blade. And ironically, films like what I'm about to mention almost killed Marvel. And, I also have a great soft spot for Captain America. I was a kid when I first looked at Captain America. It's I remember seeing images of Captain America as a child, but I didn't really know who he was as a child until I started watching stuff like Ultimate Avengers, in which I got to know the Star-Spangled Man with a Plan, but he has a very iconic look. And it's interesting, Captain America has come a long way in the live-action movies. And it's crazy to think now, because nowadays, when you think of Captain America, you might think of Chris Evans and his wholesome portrayal of the character, starring in so many blockbusters. Captain America is a $2.2 billion franchise, one of the most successful franchises. The Marvel Cinematic Universe may not be perfect, but of all the solo Marvel Cinematic Universe movies I've had the pleasure of watching, Captain America might be my favorite of the solo MCU trilogies with Chris Evans. Chris Evans is to Captain America what Christopher Reeve was to Superman. That's what a lot of fans believe, and I agree. I do believe that Chris Evans definitely helped make Captain America a household name in blockbuster movies, but that always wasn't the case. You see, Captain America wasn't always the household name that we know and love today. It's hard to believe, right? But in the comics, he wasn't exactly a household name. By the 1980s, Captain America had sadly been reduced to a C-list character, being overshadowed by the likes of Spider-Man, X-Men, and Batman. That's there are plenty of comic fans who would love Captain America, but Hollywood wasn't as enthusiastic about Captain America. But here's the thing, Captain America is a deeply rooted character, going all the way back to 1941, and, well, he does deserve his due. And here on Commentary Companions, the gimmick has always been audio commentaries on movies. And Captain America has had a very mixed history when it comes to the media of live-action films. A lot of his films aren't exactly, I wouldn't call them art. Some of them are so imperfect. Some of them are schlock. And some of them are probably not easy to find on Amazon when it comes to DVDs. And I kind of wrote this vow that I would not do audio commentaries on these Captain America movies because, well, the thing is, they're a bit way too obscure, even for me, and it would probably be hard to find them on DVD and on streaming services. So, but I figured I want to do something for this 4th of July, and for the 4th of July, I will be talking about Captain America's movies before he joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe and returned to form. But before I talk about the movies, I've got to talk about Captain America's history in the comics. Yes, this is so we're going to go all the way back 86 years ago, which is such a strange sentence to say for me because 80 years ago would have been the 1920s for me. But that's no longer the case anymore. But anyway, Captain America made his first comic book debut in Captain America Comics #1, published on December 20th, 1940, created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby during the Golden Age of comics. Now, during this time, Europe was now involved with the Second World War, and Adolf Hitler was reigning terror on Europe and Germany, and America was very much witnessing all of this, and Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, who were both Jewish, were very concerned regarding the state of Nazi Germany. It's like they were afraid of what was going to happen, and it didn't help that back then there were a lot of American Nazi sympathizers who didn't even care what Hitler was doing to Europe, but Joe Simon and Jack Kirby were very concerned about what Hitler was going to be doing. But it didn't help that there were groups like America First who were like, nah, we don't want to join World War II. This is your problem, not America's problem. Yeah, I don't really have the qualifications to really talk about America First here on this podcast, but yeah, America First certainly didn't help with the war efforts. I mean, I actually became familiar with America First thanks to a political cartoon that was drawn by Dr. Seuss, but I'll probably explain what the cartoon was beforehand. The America First Committee of 1940 was formed to keep America out of World War II. The organization attracted roughly 800,000 members. However, it became highly controversial due to anti-Semitic and pro-fascist rhetoric from prominent spokespeople like Charles Lindbergh. So, ironically, they became the very thing that they hated. I mean, it's crazy how a group will just eventually become a farce of its former self, not unlike the modern Republican Party, if you ask me. But yeah, America First was definitely not helping when it came to World War II. But I remember one cartoon about America First that was drawn by Dr. Seuss. It consisted of a nanny reading a storybook to two children, and the nanny had a dress that said America First, and the book she was reading was called Adolf the Wolf. And what she read was, and I quote, "And the big bad wolf ate up the children and swallowed them and spat out their bones. But those were foreign children, so it didn't really matter." So yeah, that's what America First was like. Anyway, I'm getting off subject. But Captain America had always had a political undertone when he was created in 1940. He was very much inspired by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby's strong opposition against Hitler, the Nazis, and any Nazi sympathizers in the U.S. Like, yeah, Captain America was created as a fuck you to America First. Call it World War II American propaganda all you like, but Captain America was created to persuade Americans to fight against the Nazis and the Axis powers in World War II, and to help boost morale during the war. I mean, which is appropriate enough. I mean, when it was published, several months later, the attack on Pearl Harbor happened, which persuaded Franklin D. Roosevelt to tell America, all right, guys, this is it. We're joining World War II, and that's final. And when that happened, well, the original America First hate group then died after that. Maybe what I'm saying might not be accurate, and I'm probably not the right guy to talk about America First or World War II. I mean, if you want someone to talk about World War II in a more accurate, better, and professional manner, I would recommend going to your local historian who's an expert in this field, because I'm probably not qualified to talk about that. But anyway, when Captain America was created, the comics were definitely helped with World War II, and in a way, the Captain America comics pretty much boosted morale during the war. The comics were even shipped overseas to United States soldiers for entertainment. So yeah, he was very much that positive role model that we as Americans needed, right up there with Superman. And the funny thing is, back then, Captain America Comics was an anthology series, because back then heroes like Captain America, Superman, and Batman were part of anthology comics. So comics like Detective Comics, Action Comics, and Captain America Comics had multiple stories in a single issue. It even featured non-Captain America characters that were basically backup stories, stuff like Hurricane and Tuck the Cave Boy. And I don't see anyone really talking about Hurricane and Tuck the Cave Boy. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that Captain America Comics had as an anthology series. The original anthology series ran for 75 issues by Timely Comics from 1940 to February of 1950. And number 74 and 75 were then known as Captain America's Weird Tales, which definitely sounds like an anthology series. And when Timely Comics evolved into Atlas Comics, Atlas gave Captain America 3 more issues in 1954, ending with issue number 78. And this was simply known as, Captain America. And, Captain America's roots are always going to be rooted in World War II. I mean, his debut comic features Captain America punching Adolf Hitler in the face, which I think is one of the most iconic pieces of art in Marvel history. It's right up there with Spider-Man swinging in New York with a criminal, talking about, though the world may mock timid bookworm Peter Parker, they will marvel at the power of the amazing Spider-Man. It's very much an iconic piece of art, in my opinion. And, well, like I said, it's so rooted in Marvel that Stan Lee, Stan the Man, first wrote for Captain America in the 3rd issue of Captain America Comics in May of 1941 at the age of 18. Stan Lee's story was known as Captain America Foils the Traitor's Revenge. The story is also notable for being the first time Captain America threw his iconic shield as a weapon. Stan wrote around 14 issues of the original Captain America Comics anthology series. It was kind of his first gig with Marvel, and he's stuck with them ever since, collaborating with the likes of Jack Kirby, the original co-creator of Captain America. And of course, Captain America would finally join the Marvel Universe and make his first appearance with the Avengers in The Avengers number 4 in 1963, which was appropriately enough illustrated by Captain America's co-creator Jack Kirby. And this also introduced the frozen and suspended animation retcon, turning Captain America into a man out of time. And ever since then, Steve Rogers has been the heart of the Avengers, often being their great patriotic morale. Steve would then start appearing in Tales of Suspense, starting with issue number 59. Captain America ended up becoming so popular with Tales of Suspense that by the 100th issue, it soon became Captain America. So yeah, it was then Captain America number 100, leading his own series. And of course, everyone knows that Tales of Suspense was another anthology series that also introduced Iron Man. Now, the first time that Captain America was ever portrayed in film was in 1944. Republic Pictures produced a 15-part film serial about Captain America. 3 years prior, Republic had produced The Adventures of Captain Marvel, long before DC had the rights to the character. Now, when you hear the name Republic Pictures, its most best-known logo, it consists of an eagle on top of a mountain. It's pretty much one of their most iconic things, and if that doesn't scream America, I don't know what does. But yeah, Republic Pictures was best known for making westerns, action films, film serials, mystery films, and many, many B-movies. From 1936 to 1955, Republic Pictures was best known for making 66 film serials. They were dubbed the king of the cliffhangers. I mean, every serial would end with a cliffhanger, motivating you to buy a ticket to pretty much buy a ticket to watch the next film serial, and on and on and on. And so far, Republic Pictures made 386 westerns. Yeehaw! American film serials go all the way back to 1912, influencing filmmakers like George Lucas. If it weren't for serials like Flash Gordon, we wouldn't have Star Wars. Now, film serials covered genres such as crime, spies, comic book characters and comic strip characters, science fiction, jungle adventures, and westerns. Western serials were pretty much the least expensive to make. And of course, for those who don't know, a serial is spelled S-E-R-I-A-L. Serial, not to be confused with breakfast cereal, but yeah, serials. Now, Republic's Captain America serials were the first time a Marvel character was portrayed on screen. Now, noted this was back when Marvel was known as Timely Comics, and Timely Comics had no involvement with the serials, and the serials deviated greatly from the comics, much to the chagrin of Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. Now, here are some of the major differences in Republic's Captain America. Captain America is not Steve Rogers. Instead, Captain America is Grant Gardner, a district attorney who goes undercover as the hero. I am not kidding. There's no super soldier serum, kind of defeating the purpose of Captain America's origins. He doesn't even use his iconic shield. Instead, he carries a gun. And Captain America's sidekick, Bucky, does not appear in the serials. The serials do not feature Nazis and instead feature an original villain known as the Scarab. Interestingly, the audience knows the secret identity of the villain, and the heroes have to find out the Scarab's identity. It's kind of like Columbo. In case you're wondering who Columbo is a detective that was played by Peter Falk, and usually the gimmick of Columbo is in every single television episode, we usually find out who the killer is at the beginning, and it's Columbo who has to find out who the killer is. I kind of like this gimmick of, the audience finding out who the killer is beforehand, and so the hero has to find out who the villain is. It's an interesting concept. That's why I usually use Columbo as sort of like a comparison to whenever the hero has to find out who the villain or the killer is in the mystery. Now, despite all these creative liberties that were taken with the source material, the Captain America serial was still considered World War II propaganda, with the character serving as a patriotic figure. And interestingly enough, I'll talk about this later, but this is actually a very tragic thing that I found out when I was doing research. Captain America was portrayed by Dick Purcell. Dick Purcell has the honor of being the first actor to ever play the character, even if he's not explicitly Steve Rogers. Tragically, the Captain America serials were one of Dick Purcell's final roles, as he would pass away on April 10th, 1944, from heart failure at the age of 38, which is actually kind of tragic. It's very much not unlike when Heath Ledger died after portraying the Joker. But here's the thing, this was something that I learned from breakdowns and blockbusters. Playing the Joker actually did not kill Heath Ledger. It didn't take a toll on his mental state. He actually didn't go full method actor. It was actually after playing the Joker, he was dealing with stuff like pneumonia, his breakup, and in a horrible case of insomnia. Playing the Joker was just a coincidence, but, people will make up urban legends to spin the tale of method acting and such. But yeah, this what Dick Purcell went through almost does remind me of Heath Ledger's death. Both are tragic, and it's very sad that these men died so young. But yeah, rest in peace, Dick Purcell. But yeah, the Captain America serial would be re-released in 1953, which really showed how popular it was. However, due to the serial missing its copyright renewal, the Captain America serials are now in the public domain. Yeah, there were a lot of movies and serials from Republic Pictures that are now in the public domain and have been used in stuff like Mystery Science Theater 3000. Isn't that interesting? But yeah, after that, Captain America had kind of faded into obscurity after World War II, but his 1960s comeback certainly helped make him a lot more popular, especially once he got his own solo series. By the 1970s, it kind of made sense to, try and reboot him and start portraying him in live action again. In the late 1970s, Marvel formed a partnership with the Columbia Broadcasting System, otherwise known as CBS, to adopt Marvel's characters for television. I'm sorry, I meant to say adapt. Why did I say adopt? Adopt, adapt, they sound so similar almost. And now, by that point, Marvel had developed a decent relationship with Universal Studios under their television brand. The most popular Marvel show to air on CBS was The Incredible Hulk starring Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. In 1979, CBS, Universal Television, and Marvel made two made-for-TV movies about Captain America, starring Reb Brown as the titular character. And the most nice thing I can say about the Captain America TV movies were that they're very much a product of the 1970s. You can definitely tell, but they're not the Chris Evans movies. They're schlock. I remember watching the 1979 Captain America movie starring Reb Brown, and I did not like it. It's like, this is Captain America? That's Captain America? This looks like crap. Yeah, I mean, there are so many differences with this film and the comics. I mean, the TV movies take a lot of creative liberties with the source material. For one, I'll start by saying Bucky is not featured in the Captain America TV movies. That's a start. And the film does not take place in World War II and instead takes place in 1979, definitely making it dated. And Steve Rogers is a former Marine and a commercial artist. And this whole Steve Rogers being an artist would later on influence later comics, and they would do the retcon that, yeah, before Steve Rogers became Captain America, he was an artist. And that's a retcon I'm actually okay with. And in this version of the 1970s Captain America TV movie, his father developed a super steroid with his own DNA known as FLAG. And FLAG is short for Full Latent Ability Gain. Steve is given FLAG to save his life, and FLAG is compatible with his blood because he shares his father's DNA, which is so stupid. I don't know. I don't understand why they couldn't call it the super soldier serum. And Steve named himself Captain America after a nickname that his father was given, that his enemies would give to him as a way of mocking his patriotism. And Steve called himself Captain America as a way of honoring his father, which I think is so stupid, if you ask me. And in the movie, Steve wears a standard blue and white jumpsuit with red stripes with a full-face motorcycle helmet that vaguely resembles his mask. And it is the most 1970s TV superhero suit I've ever seen. It very much looks dumb. Like, I can kind of tell that Evel Knievel was clearly an influence on the suit. And his shield doesn't look red, white, and blue. In fact, the white is missing, and it's made of plastic instead of metal, and it is so flimsy. It's just so stupid, but it is kind of cool that he rides a motorcycle. And I mean, Captain America and motorcycles go hand in hand like apple pie and vanilla ice cream. That's pretty American right there. But yeah, this Captain America movie was released in January, and 10 months later, Captain America 2, Death Too Soon, aired as a two-parter on CBS. I mean, Captain America 2 Part 1 aired on one night, Salem's Lot aired the next day, and the day after that, the second part to Captain America Death Too Soon would air. In this film, Steve Rogers must stop a terrorist known as General Miguel from dispersing a chemical that speeds up the aging process. And General Miguel uses this chemical on Portland, and he's using it for ransom because if you don't release this, if you don't give me $1 million, I will use the aging process on Portland, Oregon. And in case you're wondering why I'm doing such a elegant and British accent, that's because General Miguel was played by the late Christopher Lee, best known for playing Count Dracula in the Hammer films and Count Dooku in the Star Wars prequels. And General Miguel was created specifically for this movie. He did not originate in the comics. And so far, Captain America Death Too Soon is the only Marvel project that Sir Christopher Lee ever starred in. It's kind of crazy. But I see it as more of a footnote than anything because it's not really as grand as some of Lee's other projects, such as playing, like Count Dracula, Count Dooku, and of course, Saruman in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now, everyone at CBS had hoped that the two TV movies would lead to a television series with Reb Brown playing Captain America, not unlike, say, the pilot to The Incredible Hulk, which was a 2-hour pilot that eventually led to the popular TV series with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. And in fact, they even did kind of like a television movie for Spider-Man that led to the TV series starring Nicholas Hammond, and that was the first portrayal of Spider-Man in live action, but it's not really well regarded. I mean, the Spider-Man show is inferior to The Incredible Hulk. Yes, The Incredible Hulk is low budget and is very much a product of its time, but it's still iconic in its own right. And fans really did like The Incredible Hulk TV show. Sadly, the low ratings to the two television Captain America movies killed any prospect of a live-action Captain America television series. And maybe that's for the better, because it's very much a product of the time. And after that, Captain America started fading into obscurity. He wasn't really a household name like Spider-Man and the X-Men were. I mean, by that point, by the 1980s, Captain America had been reduced to a C-tier superhero, only loved by the biggest of comic book fans. In 1984, Menahem Golan and Yoram Globus bought the rights to Captain America with the intention to create a movie at the Cannon Film Group. This is the same film group that also made Superman 4, and coincidentally, Golan and Globus also held the movie rights to Spider-Man, as I mentioned in my Commentary Companions episode for the 2002 movie. And now, Cannon struggled to make a live-action movie about Captain America due to the studio's financial troubles. I wonder why. Do you think it also had something to do with the fact that you made Superman 4, The Quest for Peace? But anyway, when Menahem Golan left Cannon in 1989, he took the rights to Captain America with him when he joined 21st Century Film Corporation. And so, 21st Century Film Corporation would make Captain America in 1990, with Matt Salinger playing the titular character. And I didn't know this until I did my research, but Matt Salinger is the son of reclusive writer J.D. Salinger, who is best known for writing Catcher in the Rye. Anyway, back on subject. The Captain America movie from 1990 was planned for a wide theatrical release, but it only got a brief theatrical release in the United Kingdom, and it had the horrible dignity of being released direct-to-video in the United States in 1992. But it is notable for being the first Marvel movie in live action to ever get a PG-13 rating. But it's funny, before Matt Salinger was cast as Captain America, Arnold Schwarzenegger was considered for the role of Captain America, which is ironic because, well, Arnold Schwarzenegger is not American. He's, Austrian. He's German. It would be hilariously ironic if a German actor portrayed Captain America. It would be so funny because imagine if he was cast as Captain America, they would probably have to dub his voice with an American actor because Arnold Schwarzenegger cannot do an American accent to save his life. He's best known for doing the Austrian accent. Yeah, he can't even do a Russian accent as portrayed in Red Heat. But yeah, it was only one of the few times he tried to do a Russian accent, but he didn't do the Russian accent. But yeah, he's better known for his Austrian accent. And fun fact, when Arnold Schwarzenegger started acting, one of his first roles was as Hercules in New York. And in the movie Hercules in New York, his voice is dubbed by this by this generic sounding guy. I think I could probably play the clip. Hold on. Okay. This is the dubbed version of Hercules in New York with Arnold's voice being dubbed by this American sounding guy.
Like it down there. Let me be the judge of that. I'm tired of the same old faces, the same old things. Like it down there.
And this is Arnold speaking with his natural accent.
Let me be the judge of that. I am tired of the same old faces, the same old things.
Yeah, okay, wow. It's like the American dub sounds so generic. I mean, he's more robotic than the T-800. But, yeah, it's like, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, they probably would have gone that route if he had been cast as Captain America, but I doubt that would have happened because Captain America was so low budget. Let me look at the budget to the 1990 movie. Hold on one moment. What the heck? What the hell? Yeah, the film was made for $3 million in 1990. That is so low budget. Sometimes sometimes the film was distributed by MGM, or sometimes it was distributed by Columbia TriStar. I can't really tell. But yeah, one of the film's most infamous moments, aside from looking like from a comic book accurate outfit, is its rubber ears on the mask. And it's a funny story. You see, now everyone knows one of Captain America's most iconic looks. One of the most iconic things about Captain America is definitely his mask, because it's this blue mask that reveals his eyes and also reveals his the rest of his lower face with his nose and his mouth, and also with the big giant white A at the center of his head, and two wings on his from the side of his head, and almost like a patriotic eagle, and of course his ears stick out of the mask. That's kind of very much an iconic part of his mask. It's very much it's how we associate Captain America. And apparently the filmmakers tried to replicate this when they were making Captain America, because I'll give props. The suit is very faithful to the comics, but the problem is apparently the mask was apparently too uncomfortable for Matt Salinger. And so everyone had the bright idea of making rubber ears that were glued onto the mask to make it look look more accurate, but it's so noticeable and ridiculous. My God, it's so ridiculous, and that does not help. It's as bad as the animated suit in Green Lantern. Oh, who am I kidding? At least Captain America's suit in the 1990 movie can actually be seen and isn't made from computer graphics. It's not animated. But yeah, some interesting facts, like Captain America, the 1990 movie, is also the first time Cap's famous archenemy, the Red Skull, is used as a villain. Unfortunately, They missed it by that much because this is not a faithful version of Red Skull. I mean, seriously, they take so many creative liberties with the comic source material. Such major differences are, well, I'll start with the obvious. Bucky is not featured in the movie. Go figure. I guess we wouldn't really find Bucky until the 2011 movie. And for another, Red Skull isn't a ruthless German Nazi known as Johann Schmidt. Instead, he's an Italian fascist mafia known as Tazio De Santis, who was disfigured by a failed version of the super soldier serum. Which is, it's funny, I think they probably used that origin for the 2011 movie. Now, isn't that ironic? But yeah, Red Skull speaks with an Italian accent. It's kind of weird. And this version of Steve Rogers has polio and gets the serum to heal his legs, and he becomes Captain America. But in this version, Captain America gets frozen by being trapped by a bomb, and he is then discovered by 1990 environmentalists. And he befriends the president in this film. And this movie has an environmental theme to it. It's very jarring and really does stand out. But yeah, this film was not good, and it kind of didn't do Marvel any favors in the live action department. It kind of contributed to the whole superhero movies are box office poison, and it looks so plastic and rubbery. It's so bad. Like, these movies did not do Marvel any favors whatsoever. In fact, I might read some of the reviews. This is what Rotten Tomatoes had to say on its 16% review of the film. Lacking a script, budget, direction, or star capable of doing justice to its source material, this Captain America should have been left under the ice. But apparently the director's cut is better. And this is what critic Frank Lovice wrote. The movie isn't merely wrong for kids. It opens in pre-war Italy with a sequence in Italian with subtitles and a machine gun slaughter. It's just all wrong, and he described the film as a shapeless blob of a plot. Variety called it a strictly routine superhero outing, and this fantasy adventure is missing the large-scale set pieces that audiences have come to expect. And this is IGN's review. Apparently, the unfavorable rating for an MGM version and an average rating for the collector's edition version. And Neil Calloway says, it's not a great film and is really only of interest as a pre-MCU curio for hardcore Marvel fans. But it has gained a cult following. I didn't even know that there was a director's cut. But apparently the director's cut is kind of better than the theatrical cut. But yeah, it would also receive a comic book adaptation 2 years after the release, which was written by Stan Lee and featured some minor changes from the original film. But yeah, this film, I believe the 1990 film kind of contributed to Captain America fading into obscurity and preventing him from becoming a household name. And it didn't help that characters like Spider-Man and the X-Men were overshadowing Captain America when it came to comics. But eventually, Captain America would sort of make a bit of a comeback in the 2000s with a great run in 2005 with the Winter Soldier storyline. And it really contributed to Captain America making a bit of a comeback in the comics and becoming a much more popular character. And I think the live-action movies certainly helped. But, Captain America went through a revolving door of movie studios. During Marvel's bankruptcy, they were very close to selling the movie rights of Captain America to Warner Brothers of all studios. Isn't that hilariously ironic? I mean, selling Captain America to Warner Brothers. It would have felt so wrong because this is the same studio that owns your rival company, DC Comics. It would be so hilarious, the idea of Warner Brothers making a Captain America movie. But then again, their sister company, New Line Cinema, owned the rights to Blade and did own the rights to Iron Man and Deadpool. And Warner Brothers did distribute X-Men Evolution and even aired the show on the Kids WB. And Kids WB did also air The Spectacular Spider-Man on Saturday mornings. Isn't that hilarious? That's an interesting piece of Marvel lore, and Cartoon Network even aired The Fantastic Four, World's Greatest Superheroes. That's the kind of relationship that Warner Brothers had with Marvel, just a distribution deal kind of thing. But it's kind of weird to imagine Warner Brothers coming close to buying the rights to Captain America. Who knows what they could have done? I doubt they would have done a Superman crossover. But yeah, in 1998... Marvel sold the movie rights of Captain America to Artisan Entertainment, and they had the rights to so many characters, as I've mentioned in my Commentary Companions episode, to The Punisher from 2004. But yeah, Artisan held the rights to Captain America, as did Lionsgate when Lionsgate bought Artisan in 2003. While they couldn't really do a live-action Captain America movie, Lionsgate did end up making several animated movies with Marvel and put Captain America in them. The first of them was Ultimate Avengers, and I actually remember Ultimate Avengers because Ultimate Avengers was actually my introduction to characters like Captain America, Black Widow, Thor, Ant-Man, and the Wasp in... It was also my introduction to the concept of the Team the Avengers. It's how I became familiar with the characters, and I have such a soft spot for Ultimate Avengers. It's a really good film. But yeah, when Lionsgate couldn't make a live-action Captain America movie, the rights reverted back to Marvel, and by that point, Marvel decided that they wanted to do their own cinematic universe, not unlike the comics. And the rest, as they say, when it came to Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is history. But yeah, Captain America came a long way from the comics and the movies, with a lot of misses. And the first movie, Captain America: The First Avenger, really saved the character and really helped return him to form. And it's interesting. The First Avenger has Steve Rogers selling war bonds for World War II, and he even stars as a fictionalized version of Captain America in film serials, which is a fun nod to the 1944 serials which were done by Republic Pictures. What's even funnier is that Captain America: The First Avenger's film distributor, Paramount Pictures, owns Republic Pictures, the very studio that made the 1944 serial. So, in a way, it does come full circle, but which is so funny, you know? But yeah, that's the history of Captain America before he joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What a legacy. I mean, a lot of misses, but a lot of cult status and even impacting the comics. It's kind of crazy to think this is how Captain America got his start. Now, it's not easy to find these movies. You'll be lucky if you can find the Captain America serials on Amazon. They're very scarce. They're kind of owned by a lot of independent studios. And I think you would be lucky to find DVDs of the TV films. And you would also be lucky if you would be able to find the DVD to the 1990 Captain America movie. But, and I don't know if they're available online on any streaming platforms, but this was actually pretty fun, learning about Captain America and sharing his history and what he went through. I doubt I'm going to be doing commentaries on these films, but it's fun to talk about their history and what they went through. But yeah, I mean, it's actually nice to be back on Commentary Companions. I'm hoping for my next commentary episode, I want to do a commentary companions episode on Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame, because this year is the film's 30th anniversary, and I intend to do a commentary on the film. And after that, I will eventually I will finish off with the rest of the other films. I'll be doing commentary companions episodes on X-Men Apocalypse, Logan, Deadpool 2, The New Mutants, and Dark Phoenix, and then The New Mutants. And then after that, I might do an epilogue podcast episode. And then after that, I'll focus my priorities on doing commentary companions episodes for the Pixar films, starting with A Bug's Life, and the occasional other film to celebrate a film's anniversary, and of course your typical podcast episode like this. But anyway, this was fun to watch. I hope you have a good 4th of July. Be sure to have fun watching the fireworks. Try not to blow your fingers out setting off fireworks. Enjoy your steak and burgers and hot dogs, and raise a glass to America. But anyway, I'm Tony the Happy Nerd. This has been Commentary Companions. Be sure to like and subscribe. Don't have a good day. Have a great day.